Welcome to the Boxing Talk Show.
Fair but firm.
With the Hall of Fame boxing referee.
I'm Joe Cortez.
And co-host John Zamel for all of Las Vegas.
Come on, guys. Let's touch them up. Tree fight. I'm Joe Cortez. Fair but firm.
Welcome to the Fair but Firm show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the boxing capital of the world. We're here with my co-host John Zimmel.
Yes, sir.
And Joe Cortez here to talk a little bit about what happened in 2018 and what's coming up for 2019. John, there's a lot of good things that are happening.
Yes, sir.
Before we start with the future fights and what's the remainder of the year, let's talk a little bit about these young kids here in Las Vegas and around the world that are looking to get involved with boxing. As we all know that there's certain clubs in town that can help you get your kids on a good program, good boxing program, and I believe that Richard Steele Boxing Club is one of them. You have Barry's Boxing Gym. There's several gyms around town that really has a nice program. The Richard Steele Boxing Club has a tutoring program, after-school program, and they have meals there for the kids as well. So it's a good place to send your kids to get involved with the sport and learn some discipline and build up their self-esteem and their confidence level. All goes up with the boxing, because I remember when I started back in New York when I was 15 years old, I'm a product of the Boys Club of New York, and they surely helped me get on the right track in life. And I think that you listeners out there should really look into getting your children in some kind of a program. Now, don't forget, it doesn't have to necessarily be boxing. It can be any sport. It could be basketball, hockey, football, you name it, tennis, baseball, any kind of a sport to keep your kids involved.
Yeah.
Because there's too much of that media stuff that the kids are involved with. You watch every little kid out the street, see they either on a tablet or on the phone. And before, years ago, they were out there playing sports and exercising and whatnot. Now they're not really exercising that much. You see the obesity is starting to take over their lives, and you don't see enough of them doing enough activities. So I think that getting involved with sports, we have to go back and start doing that for the kids. Do you agree with me, Dan?
I absolutely agree with you. I think that's a great idea, man. That's excellent. You're absolutely right. And playing outside is fun, and a lot of people enjoy it. And there's no reason why that we can't incorporate that in our day-to-day lives, especially as kids, just like they incorporate everything else.
Exactly. I truly believe that you parents out there listening and to our show is how important it is to have a good family together, and I think that you parents are the leaders of your children's lives, and wherever they're going to go in life, they look up to you. So you're the role model, and you're the one that should also get involved and tell them, come on, let's go out and play a little bit of sports. Let's do something. Let's not sit around the house all day long. So anyway, that's one of my little things for the day today as far as making your life a little bit better. Going into boxing, John.
Yes, sir.
Now, December, we have a bunch of fights coming up. I know
this is a crazy busy schedule, man. Yeah.
It's not as busy as it was last year, but I want you to give a little rundown for December.
It's funny you should mention that, because I agree 100%. We talk about 2017 being one of the best years in boxing history, to be honest, and a real bounce back year for everything that we saw. And we were saying, how is 2018 going to follow it? And so far, 2018 has been a bit of a letdown, but it's been more importantly setting up fights for 2019 and for the future. But don't let it bum me out too much, because this year's December, it's going out with an absolute bang. This is one of the most action-packed schedules I've ever seen on record as far as 1 month. I'm going to count down some of the highlights for you. These are just the highlights. I'm skipping a bunch of people. On December 1st, next week, this is when it all starts. We have the big one, the big Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury fight, the last pay-per-view fight of the year, the big exciting, the big monsters fighting against each other. And that undercard has Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fighting Alfredo Angulo. Yeah. It has Luis Ortiz returning to action. It has Joe Joyce in his first big pay-per-view event. It has Jarrett Hurd making his big junior middleweight defense, defending his IBF WBA belts. And then obviously at the very end, you have Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury closing it out. On the other side, in Quebec that same night, where people wouldn't even be watching, you have Adonis Stevenson defending his WBC light heavyweight title against Alexander Gyotic, which would normally be a pretty big fight and is kind of non-existent on that weekend. That's pretty nuts for just that first week.
And I agree with you. Now, to wrap it up there for the year, I can say that some of the fights that really the big fights of the year, I would say was Canelo Alvarez and Triple G.
That was probably the biggest fight.
Probably the biggest fight. I think the next big one would be Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury.
I think those are the two biggest fights of this year as far as hype goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, make sure you tune in on our iTunes and our YouTube and our Facebook channel. We have the Fair But Firm show we do on Mondays, and at the end of the year, the last show of the year, we're going to do our Fair But Firm Awards again, second annual, where we count down our knockout of the year, fighter of the year, fight of the year, things like that. Your normal, fight end of the year award shows. So we'll go through it. But this is the first year where we have no idea because all the big things that are coming up at the end. Normally by November, you kind of know who all the winners are. And now it's like any of the, they could all the winners could be in December for all I know.
Exactly. And some of the surprises of the year as well, like when Sean Porter beating Danny Garcia.
Absolutely. That was a big win.
Winning the WBC world title. That was a big one for Sean Porter. His second time he won the championship. He was a IBF welterweight champion until Kell Brook took away from him.
Oh, yeah.
And then he come back now and become WBC
Speaking
champion.
of Kell Brook, he'll be back. He'll be back on December 8th, the very next week. Yeah. They have Kell Brook and Spike O'Sullivan returning, and you have Chocolatito and Cecilia Brækhus coming in Carson, California. And those aren't even the big fights. Exactly. Those are two other ones. On top of those, you have Vasily Lomachenko fighting against Pedraza to unify their lightweight belts, and Isaac Dogboe on that undercard. Yeah. That's the second weekend in December. That's crazy to me.
It is crazy. I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks.
Oh my God, yeah, we're not gonna have any boring shows. That's for sure. Make sure you tune in every week because we're gonna make sure they're gonna be action packed.
Exactly. There's nothing much happening tonight, but
no, yeah, it's like, but we could use it. Yeah. We had a big holiday weekend. We ate a bunch of turkey. I know I did. I ate too much turkey. Actually, this is kind of fun, and I'll talk about it in further depth on Monday. But over the past 3 weeks, starting on November 1st, I wanted to put myself through a little experiment, and I went through a full pre-fight cut where I went through 2 weeks of really low calories, and then the final 5 days before Thanksgiving, I went through a water weight cut, and I lost 15 pounds of water. I rehydrated since then, but I ended up losing 23 pounds in those 3 weeks, and not fat or anything, just water weight and a little bit of fat, obviously, but just I wanted to see what these fighters go through when they go through a 3 week cut like that, and it was crazy to me the amount of what these warriors put themselves through before having to step into a ring just to make the weight it was absolutely unbelievable to me, and I'll be kind of counting. I'll be discussing that a little bit further on Monday, but that was nuts. I felt like my eyes were sunken in, my knuckles were all sore. The dehydration was crazy. I didn't want to be like Diego De La Hoya last week and faint, so I took it easy. But I still, I did want to kind of experience, because we talk about these guys, and I wanted to see that aspect of it because it's one that people don't talk about very often.
Yeah, well, it goes to show that if you're disciplined and you're focused and you're willing to try to make weight, you can do it just like John did. I mean,
it was fun.
It is something that we all got to stop and think about taking care of ourselves as well.
Absolutely.
Because it is something that is so important that we try to do. I'm trying to knock off another 3 or 4 more pounds myself.
But yeah.
I came to Vegas in 92 weighing 165. I got on the scale this morning. I came on the scale morning on the scale. I weighed 173.
That's not bad.
So it's not bad. So I just try to knock off another 3 or 4
I'll tell you,
pounds.
I've probably gained back. I meant to do another weigh-in for the unofficial, the next day. And but I'd probably guess I've gained back about 15 of those pounds, which is fine. You know what I mean? Like I said, it was mostly water, a lot of it.
Well, it's just like
Roberto, that's just kind of how it goes.
It's just like Roberto Duran. After he got through fighting, he'll put on 30, 40 pounds.
Oh my God, he did it no problem.
In between fights.
It's so funny, yeah.
And that is the most difficult part of training, being a fighter, is that trying to keep that weight up. Now you look at Floyd Mayweather.
That's one thing. Yeah, Floyd never did that. He never put it back on.
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather, he could weigh in at 147 fight date. And
the next day?
Then the next day he comes in and weighs in
149, yeah.
Maybe 150, 151, only a couple
he
of pounds.
He rehydrated a little bit, but he was not, he didn't hurt himself.
He's always in great shape.
What do you think he walks around at right now, if you had to guess?
I say right now he's probably 152, 53.
Yeah, I bet so too, but 155 at the most.
Yeah,
it's just who he is, man. I mean, that's how he does things. He's so disciplined. It's crazy.
No, it's one of the things that fighters have to be disciplined, keep it keen to watch their weights, and especially the lighter weight divisions like the flyweight, featherweights, lightweights. I mean, always really. Sometimes you wish they all wish they were heavyweights. They don't have to worry about making weight.
They would be nice, yeah, like Big Baby Miller.
Yeah, baby
Miller. 315, yeah.
Yeah, he came in at 215. 315, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, friends, we're going to talk more about these fighters, but let's go into a brief commercial, and we'll be right back. Well, welcome back again to the Fair But Firm Show here with Joe Cortez and my co-host John Zimmel. We're talking about these fighters making weight and whatnot. The heavyweights, there's no problem with the heavyweights. and this guy, Big Baby Miller, came in at 315 pounds. last week for
And
his
like I
fight.
said, the fight before that, he was 317, so he's obviously improving.
Yeah, but you know what happens in boxing is
Real progress.
what happens in these boxing is that some of these fighters they don't have enough discipline to keep their weight down, and especially even Tyson Fury, when he was out of action for a while, he went like over 325
He blew up,
pounds.
man. He was enormous.
And now we're talking about him fighting Deontay Wilder December 1st.
Next weekend, man. A week
Next
from today.
weekend, it's going to be a good fight. I mean, it's a fight. It's going to. I don't know if it's going to be a great fight, but it's going to be a fight of interest.
It's
For
going
the
to be
simple-
exciting for sure.
For the simple reason that the fans want to see what Deontay Wilder has, and if Tyson Fury still has a little spark of the old flash.
I think it's exciting, man. It really is. It's definitely for for hardcore fans. It's definitely one of the biggest, most anticipated fights of the year because everybody wants to see what Tyson Fury is bringing to the table, and everyone wants to see Deontay Wilder tested again.
Exactly, and I like to see going down to the lower weight classes. I talk about Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs, he lost to Triple G about 2 years ago, and he fought a good fight. As a matter of fact, it was so close, and I mean Triple G was the top of his game that night.
Yes.
And it goes to show that, Triple G's getting older, and now I think Danny Jacobs should get a shot at the middleweight division again. He's been dead for many years, waiting to get that shot again. I think now maybe Canelo Alvarez should start thinking about Danny Jacobs, or maybe they don't want to think about him right now.
Yeah, it's possible. I think. Canelo Alvarez is going to be fighting Rocky Fielding on the third weekend. It's perfect segue. The third weekend in December is going to feature Canelo Alvarez fighting Rocky Fielding, and on that undercard you have David Lemieux, Tevin Farmer, Saddam Ali, and Ryan Garcia. That's a pretty packed card.
Yeah.
And but in doing that, he'll be able to pick up the 168 WBA regular belt, which will be a nice thing for his resume, a little stocking stuffer for the Christmas season. It'll be good for him. But then he's got to go back down to middleweight, which he where he belongs, because he'd have a hard time up against those real top guys at 168.
Yeah.
But I think all roads in middleweight lead through that end of that trilogy, right? I think I think there's too much money in a third fight with Triple G and Canelo for them not to go with that, and then move forward from there.
Yeah, I think that if they fight again, maybe by Cinco de Mayo next year,
I hope so.
It'll be a good one to Triple G again with Canelo.
I got a question about that, Joe.
Yeah, to settle the score. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. There was a report last week that Tom Loeffler came out and said that they were supposed to have post-fight drug tests, and that Triple G had his, and that Canelo's team canceled his, and it was big news for 2 days, and then of course it went away. Is that a big deal? Should that be a bigger deal than they're making it out to be, or is it just Loeffler talking? Or, I mean, what do you think about that?
Well,
it seemed like a big deal to me.
I think if it was mandatory, it has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was not from the state of Nevada. It was from where? Where did that come about?
It must have been VADA, I'm guessing, because that's
Yeah.
usually how they do it, right?
Well, okay, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
WBC's teamed with VADA, right? That's their.
Well, VADA is everybody's involved.
Well, everybody
with
uses VADA, I
Yeah,
know, but I'm
everybody
saying
uses
some sanctions use WADA and some of them use other ones, so that's why
Yeah.
I was curious.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you about that, but all I can say, if a test was due, you better step up to
Yeah.
the plate and do it to make sure that there's no.
Especially given the history of those two
Yeah,
fighters, and
exactly.
you know what I mean. That's
Yeah.
just that seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah,
to me.
but I think there's always somebody gonna say something to
Exactly.
to justify the loss of their fighter,
Mhm.
and I think that Tom Toffler is a professional. He's been around. He knows that. Let's talk positive about the up and coming fight. Make it the third one, and this way there will be no doubts, and it'll
Yeah.
shut up everybody.
I
will
sure
be-
hope so, because I'd like for that trilogy to be ended, not in a bad way, not like I'm sick of it, just like I want there to be some kind of a sense of finality, a sense of closure
Exactly.
to that fight.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna happen, eventually. But remember, it was like the Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier fights. They fight, they fought here, they fought, and it was all these controversial who won, who lost, whatever. And the thing was that Ali settled the whole matter at the end
Yeah.
with a drill in Manila stopping Joe
in the
Frazier.
15th?
Yeah, it was
Throwing
last
in the
round.
towel?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, they were about to. Ali was about to quit himself, telling his
Hey,
quarterback.
speaking of about to quit, speaking of late stoppages, I gotta tell you, I next time we have, so I saw Creed 2 yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
It was pretty good. I liked it. And to all fight fans, I think it was a good. It's a Rocky movie. You know how it is.
Yeah.
He gets down, he gets back up. You know the score. But I gotta tell you, next time we have our friend Kenny Bayless on the show, I gotta talk to him, because I think he had a late stoppage in the middle of that movie. I think he needed to
Well,
step in a little sooner.
Well, you know what happens, even when I was in a Rocky movie myself,
Yes, you were.
the Rocky Balboa
That's all I
movie.
wanted to ask.
I mean, they got a script, and you kind of got to go with the script.
I know,
The,
I'm
the
just
guy
kidding.
goes down, and the glove touches, and it gets up, and
Mhm.
and they want to keep it rolling. That wasn't part of follow the script.
Yeah.
That was going to, because we took about 5, 6, 7 different takes on one punch, you know.
Yeah.
When Rocky Balboa hit his glove, touched the canvas, I'm supposed to count. And I didn't think they want to put that one in. That's the one that they put in.
Yeah.
Because they don't know the rules.
Oh, so they counted it as not a knockdown?
Not a knockdown, yeah. so
That makes you look bad, yeah.
Yeah, it makes the ref, well.
Not really, but it's funny, you know?
It's part of the drama for the
Exactly.
movie. But it's not the
But
real.
the fact that you're a real ref makes it funny.
Yeah, yeah,
Just like
exactly.
Kenny Bayless being a real ref, who we know, watching him not stop that fight yesterday, I was
Yeah.
like yelling to the screen, "Come on, Kenny, you're gonna kill him."
Yeah,
That was-
that's part of the drama
I
for
know.
the movies, you know?
It was a very good movie, by the way. I hope you watch it. It
And
was
that's what
fun.
makes him a good movie, yeah.
Hey man, I'd tell you something though. That's the funniest thing is people always joke that in the Rocky universe there's no weight classes and there's no drug tests.
Right.
But I gotta say those guys were they were like 50 pounds apart. Those two. That's why they made them heavyweights, which I thought was fun.
Well, you know, in the Rocky movies, you know, they always have a fighters that look like heavyweights, and they're not really heavyweights. They're more like maybe light heavyweight.
Yeah, that's the point. Rocky and
70.
and Creed both aren't heavyweights.
No,
There's no way.
they're
But their
not.
opponents have all been heavyweights.
Yeah, and they look big, make it look. And if you look at that, the referees they use, they don't want a big referee like a Jay Nady
No, so they use like you and
or
Kenny?
David Field. No, they want smaller referees. I remember in the first Rocky movies, they had this guy, Lou Filippo, a professional referee,
Okay.
but he was a short guy.
Well,
Maybe
Sylvester's a short guy, a little guy, you know. So
well,
you got
yeah, he's not that tall. He's about maybe 5'9".
Well, for a
5'10".
heavyweight, he's real little.
Yeah. Well, Marciano wasn't that tall himself.
You're right,
and
Marciano
he
wasn't.
was Tyson, 5'10", you know?
Yeah, you're right. But
That's
Tyson's
why.
a lot bigger.
Yeah.
You know what though? You're right. I saw somebody break it down what they thought he weighed. Like it was a whole internet breakdown about it, and they were saying Sylvester during the first or second Rocky movie could have conceivably been a heavyweight, just probably not during the 90s.
Exactly.
That's what they were saying.
Well, even Floyd Patterson, you know, he was fighting.
Youngest heavyweight ever for a while.
Yeah, for a while until Tyson came around.
Of course, yeah.
But he was like maybe 195.
Yeah, was he really?
200. Yeah, he was small. He was a small heavyweight.
He was like Usyk. He had to kind of add weight to
Exactly.
do it. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's so fun.
Yeah, we're going to keep talking about these fighters and fighters of the past. Let's go to a brief commercial, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back once again to the Fairview Firm Show. Joe Cortez and my co-host John Zimmel.
Yes, sir.
John, you know we have to get a little energy going on the show here now.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
we'll
know
wake up.
Thanksgiving that we were everybody having a good time. Everybody's dragging a little bit.
I got on that tryptophan.
Saturday morning, you know. But you know what? I'm ready to go, buddy.
Yeah, you're right.
I want to hit the speed bag. I want to hit the heavy bag.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
you go.
No,
You
I
ready?
get it.
Anyway, but going back to these heavyweights, these middleweights, and
Yeah.
some of these fighters.
Speaking of these heavyweights, I got a question for you.
Right.
We got a big fight on Saturday, right? We got the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury, a man who beat 39-year-old Vladimir Klitschko after he hadn't lost in 22 straight fights, hadn't lost in 11 and a half years, a guy who ran the heavyweight division for an entire decade. He gets stopped, or not gets stopped, but he gets, you know, his reign comes to an end by Tyson Fury, at Tyson Fury's hand. And then Tyson Fury takes a few years off. You know, we all know about his trials and tribulations, no reason to rehash them. In that meantime, Deontay Wilder comes up, becomes WBC champion of the world, and Anthony Joshua comes up, beats a now 41-year-old Vladimir Klitschko who hadn't fought since 2 years before when he lost to Tyson Fury. He knocks down Joshua. Joshua gets up, puts him down, eventually stops him. Right? It's a very good fight. Fight of the year last year by a lot of people's standards, not ours, but a lot of people's. And now Anthony Joshua, you know, he's the man. He's got 3 belts, 4 if you count the other one. And Tyson Fury's stuck without any belts. He got stripped of all of them for one reason or another. And then, you know, Deontay Wilder has the WBC belt. So you have 2 of the 3 best heavyweights in the entire world fighting next Saturday, December 1st. And the third one is nowhere to be found. He says he's going to be sleeping. What do you think about Anthony Joshua not coming to this fight? What do you think about him not letting Deontay Wilder in his ring on the last fight? What do you think this says about him to a guy who a lot of his critics now have said that he doesn't want this fight, that he's not willing to fight the best? It's funny how, you know, the last year has changed their whole career trajectory. Last year at this exact same time, Deontay Wilder was the guy who'd never fought anyone, and Anthony Joshua was the one willing to fight anyone. And then in the last year, now Deontay Wilder's fighting Tyson Fury and Luis Ortiz this year. Whereas Anthony Joshua fought Joseph Parker and Carlos Takam, and now, you know, this guy. It just doesn't seem. It's funny how, you know, people's opinions are only as good as the last year of your career. You know, you're only as good as your last fight. What does this say about a guy who doesn't want to come? Does it mean anything? Does it mean nothing?
I think in boxing, being around boxing all my life, I can tell you that I've seen all these fighters come up with all kinds of excuses, and they try to do a hype, and maybe they should try to show no interest in a particular fight. But that's part of the promotional way, the way they try to do things. The manager is telling, listen, you know what, be quiet for this. Don't say nothing much about the fights coming up because we got different plans for you. So the least you talk about it, the better off we are. Don't show up to that event because we have other plans for you. So try to stay quiet. So, sometimes it's not the fighter himself that's running the show. He got his management team behind him telling him what to say, what not to say. Yeah. But I think that Anthony Joshua is a fighter that's going to be one of the top names in the heavyweight division because there really isn't many out there right now.
No, there's not. I mean, he is, he's a man.
Once Tyson Fury gets eliminated, then there's very few left in there. It's really going to just between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. There's a couple of up-and-coming fighters, but they're not even on the map yet. So I feel that Tyson Fury is going to just give a good account for himself. He's not going to go down that easy. No. He's going to try. But you know what? You never know. I mean, Deontay Wilder is a hell of a puncher. And I predict that Deontay Wilder could probably knock this guy with one punch.
Bam.
With one punch, maybe before the seventh or eighth round.
Really?
And that's the way I see it because Deontay Wilder is a heck of a puncher. I mean, with 39 knockouts out of his 40 wins, says a lot about his punching ability. And but let's go down to the other weight classes. And let's Danny Jacobs. We talked about Danny Jacobs. His name keeps popping up in my head for the simple reason that I think that he's going to be one of the big names in the middleweight division. Don't be surprised if he can upset some of the top middleweights out there next year. And if he doesn't get anything in the middleweight, he may shoot up to 168.
You think?
Yeah, it can happen. He's a tall guy. He's not. He can put up a couple of pounds and maybe end up fighting one of the one of the top middleweights, super middleweights.
Yeah, I don't know. I like his chances at middleweight. I put him up. I mean, I think Triple G and Canelo are the top of the class, and I think him and Jamal Charlo and B.J. Saunders and a lot of other guys, they're right there. And I think on any given night, any one of those middleweights can beat those top two guys. I really do.
Right. I think that the middleweight division is going to be a hot division for 2019.
I agree with you.
But the welterweight division, again,
I hope it does something.
It's going to do something. I mean,
Keith Thurman's back,
Keith
baby.
Thurman,
now they can't
Sean
hide
Porter, Kell Brook, Danny Garcia,
Manny Pacquiao, baby.
Adrian Broner. There guys, there's still a lot of action can happen.
Yeah, Manny Pacquiao's back with Freddie Roach. That's a feel gooder. I mean, I grew up watching those two together.
And
I'm excited about that.
And they said Freddie Roach is not going to work the corner. All of a sudden, now he's going to work the corner.
Well, yeah, he's just not going to be the main trainer, but he's going to be there. He's also in Tyson Fury's corner. That's a big one.
Yeah, exactly.
He just got a lot of work. Good for him, man. Who's his agent?
I think he's moving up. I mean, Manny Pacquiao is about ready to go out the door. And so what?
Trying to get those paychecks.
So Freddie Roach is saying, you know what? Let me start moving out with somebody. Well, Tyson Fury won't be around that much longer himself. So, but I think Freddie Roach has met some of the trained some.
Good to see him back in the boxing world.
Yeah, he's been training some of the best ones in the world, and he has one more, Tyson Fury. Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going to happen next week.
Exactly.
But again, my prediction is Deontay Wilder by knockout, 8th round.
We're doing a full fight preview next week of this whole card. Make sure you tune in. It'll be here, same exact time, same exact place. K-Dawn, 101.5 FM and 7:20 AM. We'll see you guys right here next week at 11:30 to discuss that, and I'm excited about it.
Okay, fans, so remember that to close out the year, we're going to have a good fight. But again, remember, I hope that you all had a happy Thanksgiving. We're looking forward for the Christmas, a good Merry Christmas. Wishing you guys the very best. And remember, fans, that if you take care of yourself, keep your guards up at all times, you're going to go a long ways in life. I'm fair, but I'm firm. So touch him up, and God bless.